are arriving. Director, I'm shooting you know. I'm off of a break. I'm shooting you. I'm Commander, they had gun. Commander, they had gun. They had gun. Commander, they had gun. They shot at us. They shot at us. They had gun. They shot at us. Commander, they had gun. They shot at us. The Inspector General of Police shall be appointed by the President, acting in consultation with the Council of State. Who are the Council of State? Who appointed them? Where is their loyalty? Don't answer. Keep it to yourselves. Now, the Inspector General of Police shall be head of the police service, but shall be subject to the provision of the article and to the control and direction of the Police Council. Who is the Police Council? Headed by the Vice President, who is also a party member and a member of the government. What kind of advice do you expect from him? Now, the third one, subject to the provision of the Constitution, the power to appoint persons to hold or to act in an office in the police service shall vest in the President. Are you getting the point? Now, if it is the President, what else do you expect? Acting in accordance with the advice of the Police Council. Who is the Police Council? You know. Now, this is the composition of the Police Council in Ghana. The Vice President is a party man. It doesn't matter whether it's MPP or NDC. This is what we have given us, and this is what we work with. Now, a minister responsible for internal affairs, who is he? He's a party man. Then you have the Inspector General of Police appointed by the President. The President can dismiss him at any point in time, and therefore his loyalty is partial. It doesn't matter whether he was appointed by NPP or NDC. His loyalty is divided. Because he can be appointed today and dismissed tomorrow. And the worst scenario is when he is appointed to be acting capacity. It means I'm watching you. That is what it means. Now, the Attorney General is a party man. Then you have a lawyer nominated, that one can be impartial, a representative of police, very well. 2 members of the police service appointed by the President. So who is that? Those people. Once they are appointed by the President, you know where they are coming from. Then 2 other members appointed by the President. So the whole composition of the Police Council is the President. And it's the party. Why will you give us this and think that we should be professional? You cannot. There's no way you can have a professional police service. It is party politics. And that is why we have become a chess in the hands of the government. Whether it's MPP or NDC, we are chess in their hands. And they are playing political games. That is why no party in opposition can trust the government, can trust the police. Because of what you do with us. And so once you move into opposition, you are scared that the same thing you do with us, the other party will do with us. So there is a need for constitutional amendment. And I propose that the IGP must be appointed for a fixed term with approval of Parliament to exercise independent control. There's a need for an independent police service commission to replace the current police council. And grounds upon which an IGP can be removed should be spelled out so that the IGP's removal from office cannot be based on the whims and caprices of appointing authority. That the Minister of Interior can only give directives to the IGP in writing on matters of policy, but not as to how the IGP must do his work. This will make the police loyal to the Constitution instead of particular governments.
All right, so you saw a footage from Talensi where people were shouting that they had already been shot, and the police and soldiers who came in had come there late. And then we saw the Delta forces, you know, taking control of a courtroom and a court premises in Kumasi. And then you had Benjamin Agozo. Right. For those of you who are talking about that he's been sacked, he's not sacked. Sure. Right after these comments, yeah, he was due to go on missions, I think a day or two after the comments, so he left. All those who had their problems, they were here treating the problems by themselves. He was already gone. All right. So just a couple of messages and we get some practical, 2 minutes each from our guests, practical ways by which they think we can deal with the menace up front and frontally. Nana YKA Ansayeboa says that I can't believe the analysis Martin is doing on your program today. He's watering down the clear and present danger our country faces. Well, Dr. Atuedu, sending from Georgia, Evans, he says, Martin Pebu summarizes my conviction that there is hope in fighting vigilantism. A picture of absolute insecurity and despair is not and cannot be a good recommendation to a rising canker. Right. So quickly, and I start from Professor Sabwaji. What would you propose? How do we, stem the tide?
Well, I think we need, in principle, to take very bold decisions of a non-partisan nature or devoid of political partisanship. One of them would be to reinforce, assuming that there are existing laws, we need to reinforce the existing laws, banning all paramilitary groups of the likes that we've discussed, the Delta forces, the Azoka boys, the Bulldogs, and so on and so forth. We need to close the political spaces within which they operate. There must be some amount of consensus amongst the political actors, i.e. the political parties, that it is not in their interest and the interest of Ghana and its democracy that they should maintain structures that intrude into the domain of the security sector institutions. Because in addition to the danger that they pose to people present at certain localities, they undermine confidence in the security sector institutions, and that's not very helpful for us. Elsewhere, I had suggested that political vigilantism, or whatever nomenclature we attach to that, is going hand in glove with hate speech. And I've suggested that we need to pass a law that prescribes or defines what hate speech is and bans hate speech. I think we might need to reform not the security sector, but to reform the national security architecture, i.e. the national security infrastructure. From what the Honorable Minister of State, said in the media, although he's tried to, withdraw from that, there is some evidence that the forces that operated at Ayawaso were deployed by the national security, and it's raised a number of concerns, amongst others by Occupy Ghana. Is there anything in our law that allows national security to maintain an armed force? Or is it that, under the guise of anti-terrorism, the anti-terrorism capability or abilities should reside either in the police and or the armed forces and other security sector institutions, but upon intelligence gathered by, and of course upon advice by the Security Council, one of these institutions will be designated to lead on the counter-terrorism operation.
Okay.
I find it difficult to accept the fact that not now, but going back some years, national security has maintained these forces under its direct command and control. And I think that is very worrisome.
Against the law. The clear dictates of the
Constitution. That to the lawyers.
The Constitution and also the Securities and Intelligence Act.
That's clear.
Okay. So, yes.
I'll just reiterate my earlier points that I made. In fact, we need to change the narratives, the name that we're giving to these criminal groups as merely vigilante groups. We must call a spade a spade. If their offenses are put in criminal realm, we must call them criminals. If they shoot and kill somebody, they are murderers. And they must be prosecuted as such.
He just spoke about passing a law to criminalize the hate speech that they are engaging in. My question is, first of all, we are not even punishing for the hate speech that is used during elections, which is punishable by the law.
Sure.
The law says if you engage in a conduct which is seeking to excite or promote disharmony, hatred, or enmity against another person or group of persons by words, written or verbal, by songs, etc., etc., you could go to jail for 2 years. You could lose your right to vote for 5 years.
So that comes to my second point, that we should always try to delink politics from actual criminal offenses.
Right.
We have a couple of examples in the country where hate speech, people, there was somebody, Nana also, was at a studio that the police went for him, and he saw the political mobilization that went to the police headquarters. We should try and delink politics from actual criminal offenses. If we don't do these two things, we continue to have some of these things. And as soon as somebody commits an offense and it aligns with a particular political party, it becomes politics thing. And therefore, the issue is watered down. So these are two recommendations I'll give. One, let's make the actions of these people, if they engage in the criminal activities, be tagged as criminal and stop giving them vigilante. That serves their case to be a misdemeanor.
Right.
And
how do we, Dr. Eni, how do we get the politicians who clearly patronize and use and hire these hooligans? How do we get them to stop and to completely, end this so we don't get into the future that you speak about?
Politics is driven by principles, values, and shared norms. No single political party manifesto talks about violence or glorifies violence. Okay, but their actions do so. So let's bring principles, values, and shared norms back into the center of politics. Two, institutions matter. And we've got to strengthen, support, protect the institutions mandated by law and give them the space to do their work. In all societies where the institutions are hollowed out, those institutions collapse. Finally, is to identify the structures, the norms, the traditions, and the cultures that build resilience from the local communities up.
Martin, before you give us, 1 or 2 points, what do you say about what we have acknowledged is happening against the Constitution, the clear stipulations of the Constitution, and the Securities and Intelligence Act, where the National Security Council is maintaining, a force?
Yes. It's deplorable, to say the least. That's not even the strongest term that I could use. I mean, it's such a shame that in this day and age, we would allow this to happen. So that's why I also joined the support that for such a monumental mistake, I think Mr. Abraham Champon should just step down. He should step down. You remember in the NDC regime, Jifati, she resigned on her own when the bus branding saga came and it brought her so much embarrassment. So Brian Champon should do the honorable by just resigning. It's better. Then we can go
Why are you
on.
targeting him alone? People say the IG also had his vehicles and his men were there. They stood aloof and all of that. Police vehicles, branded police were used. He was not in control of them. What about him? What about the top man, Kandapa also?
I don't know what role Kandapa played in this, especially as we are celebrating him for the yeoman's job he just did in Dagbon.
Right.
So I don't know. The name of the game is called what? Evidence. As far as I'm concerned, it's Brian Champon who has come out to accept responsibility for it. So he should take the fall. It is the honorable thing. If he doesn't...
But kind of, Professor Sabaji had just mentioned how this thing is not new.
Yes.
Okay, he's not the one who has maintained a force within the National Security Council. It's not new.
Yes.
So why should we look at him alone? And is that a lasting solution? Or somebody should be going to the Supreme Court?
We could do that. We could do that, certainly. I think Sremsai has mentioned that he's looking at it. Okay. Yes, but as his first step, he should resign. We've had some cases of people resigning, even in this current government. Remember, Deputy Minister of Agri, is it Kwe?
Yes, well, after he spoke.
Exactly. So he should do the honorable thing. If he doesn't, I think under Article 82, Parliament has the right to do a vote of censure that the President should remove the Minister of State.
They've never done that.
Yes, so they should activate it. Article 82 is there for them. Okay. Yes, I think we should do that. And then, so looking at it quite clearly, this is such a disgrace to us. I mean, he's embarrassed the nation by doing, undertaking such an open show of illegal force. So he should take the fall, and then we see what the the Commission of Inquiry says about that conduct. You say, yes. Now, moving forward, my rounding up, you see, as I stated earlier, to sum it up, I like what one of the texters said. All I'm saying is that there is hope. Yes, because we've been met with such situations before in the past, and we've pulled through. So that's all that I've been trying to analyze. So that what I'm saying is that as Dr. Inin and Co. are raising their alarms, what I'm also feverishly praying is that the peacepreneurs, that's the Peace Council, Catholic Bishops Conference, and all the other persons, please, they should come up. I know the Bishops Conference has issued a statement that police should investigate and the rest, but all of them in the Peace Council, they should go back to the drawing table so that as the commission is doing this work, maybe we begin to run more adverts, as Mr. Abrampa suggested, on behavioral change. Because for me, as I've said, deterrence is not the only approach. No. In the law books, sentencing, something, you know it well. In the law books, in our laws, deterrence is not the only approach to sentencing. So when people are saying, just go and jail them, no. That alone. When Rawlings came with the house cleaning exercise, they did wipe everything. They did. So we should learn from history and think outside the box. So much as I am conscious of the fact that imprisonment, prosecution and imprisonment helps, what I'm also saying is that it has not totally solved the problem. So we need to do an eclectic approach. So a commission of inquiry first doesn't mean that there will be no criminal prosecution tomorrow. That also doesn't mean that the Peace Council and the Catholic Bishops Conference and all the peacepreneurs should wait till the commission is done. They can also activate their mechanisms and processes alongside. Now, you heard the statement that Mr. Aguzo, Dr. Aguzo made. I think it's about time we revisit this issue of the Police Council so that we'll make it truly independent. Because it's long overdue. So that we need reforms. We need a constitutional review to make sure that we would make it truly independent. And apart from that, also, you see that this case brings back the issue of separating the Attorney General from the Minister of Justice. It brings back this whole debate. You say, yes, because when the Attorney General has his loyalty to the President, it's not easy to say he should prosecute party people.
We have attempted to solve that in part by doing a special prosecutor.
Exactly. So let's extend it. You remember a few, just one sentence on, a few weeks ago, Professor Prempe was here talking about the Kenyan example, where they've made the DPP truly independent.
That's correct.
Last year I was in Kenya. I saw it with my eyes, where the DPP is truly independent. So the DPP says I'm prosecuting.
Thank you very much, Martin. Kwebu is a private legal practitioner. We have also had the insights, expert insights of Colonel Festus Abuaje, retired author and consultant. He's author of these books I'm holding: Indigenous African Warfare, Its Concepts and Art in the Gold Coast, Ashanti, and the Northern Territories up to early 1900s. Also, ECOMOG, a sub-regional experience in conflict resolution management and peacekeeping in Liberia, second edition. You should want to find one and read. Here in the studio also is Dr. Kwesi Enin, Director, Faculty of Academic Affairs and Research, Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, and Nana Kwabena Abraham Pamensa, Senior Programs Officer, Team Leader, Security Sector, Governance, Local and Urban Governance, CDD, Ghana. We spoke to Dr. Ernest Kofi Abochi, Secretary to the Commission of Inquiry, on the phone. I'm Samson Ladi Anyanini. My outfit, as always, is by Latida. Have a good afternoon.